Okay, so now we're making the waterfall cascade page. So it's going to be 5 cards. Okay. So I measured the cards that I'm going to be using for the file. Not the file, I keep saying the file. For the cascade. And I make those little mats about 1/16 of an inch around, whatever you want, but all nice and even. So what I do is I cut one, and then what I do is I take, I'll show you, paper that is the right length, and I just put them, I put one with the other ones underneath, make sure that's all nice and even down there and on the side, and I cut the other ones. I think that's the best way to cut your cards all the same size. Okay, so here I have 5, and for the cards I suggest that you use heavyweight cardstock. It makes the pages flip better. Okay, so I have 5 here because I had cut some before I went on the video. And I'm not matting them now, because what if you goof and you have to tear one, you don't want to lose your card. So I'm going to mat them afterwards. Okay. Also what you need is a regular cardstock, regular weight cardstock. That's 65 pounds. This is 85 pounds. For the strip, that's going to hold everything together. And this one has to be lighter paper cardstock so that it folds really nice and flat. Otherwise, if you don't have the if you use a thicker cardstock, the cards won't fold all the way down, and they will come all together like that. They won't come one at a time. They will come like this. I've seen that before. I've been there. Okay, now what you need is you need to have your scoreboard. Very important to have your scoreboard to do that stage, because if you don't, your lines might not be straight, I mean all parallel, and that would make your waterfall not work. I score 5 lines because I have 5 cards at 1/2 inch. Okay, 1/2 inch. So you see all my lines are very parallel. If you use, like sometimes I use this to score lines, you can do that for 1 or 2, but when you need for the waterfall, you need to really have this scoreboard. Okay. Then what you do is you fold, so you have the 5 lines. I'm going to fold this one, then this one, then this one. That's to make sure they're all nice and parallel to the edge of my strip here. Am I too far? No. Then I do the second one, nice and even. I press hard. Then I do the other one. Make sure you're nice and even on both sides every time you fold one. Okay. Now you have your 5. Now what you do is you find the center of your strip, and then the center of the first card you're going to put on there. Just the one card. So by the way, the cards here are 3x4, so I have 3 1/8 and 1 8x4 and 1 8. So I'm going to find the center. I'm going to start gluing the one on the top first, okay? So here, if you have a mat with lines, you have to use that. So you make sure you're nice and even. You can go with the dots, nice and even here. And then you're going to put your lines together, the line that you marked here and the one on your card. You just align them together. And then you leave, I would say, 1/16 of an inch of that bottom strip that you can see. And then you fold, you press on the glue, but not too much, because you might need to change it. So now you have to be straight here too. Okay, if I'm straight here, straight here. That's why if you have a mat, it makes a big difference to make it easier, so that your cards are straight, perpendicular to this and parallel to this. Then you glue this one. I mean, you fold this one. If you have glue here, you remove it right now, because after you work all the other ones, if you have glue, it's going to tear the paper. So you don't need to mark the center to every one of them, because you're going to align them all nice and flush on the edges. So you put the glue on the fourth one, then you put it flush here. You leave 1/16 of an inch here, or I would say 1/32, okay? So 1/32 of an inch on each side. So here again, you check if you're straight here. You're straight here, you might have to adjust. So don't take too much time for that, because if you need to adjust and your glue is set, then it's not working. You have to tear the whole thing. So I fold this really nice. I remove if there's any glue. I put glue on this one. Now it's going to be easier to check if they're nice and straight as we go on, because you have a better line here to make it work. Okay, so this one here, align with this one. I check to see if it's nice here and here, and also I flip it to check if the distance between all of them is the same. This should be. If you go always 1/32 of an inch, or whatever you decide here, always the same, then you should be all even, but you still have to check. You fold the fourth one here, you make sure it's nice and flat, and also you remove if there's any glue. Put the glue here, the next card, flush here on the top and on the bottom, and you check to see if they're square. Press here, nice here. Check this one. You see, now here I have some glue. I have to remove that glue right now. You press on that one, put the glue, and then you put the last one. Okay, flush with the top, 1/32 of an inch here. Check here. It's perfect. There you have it. Okay, and then after that you press on everything, and then you can check. You put your fingers on the corners of the lower one. You grab your strip and you just go like this, and then you can see it works really well. Here I have some glue. Goes well. There you go. Now what you're going to do is you have your page right here. You're going to you're not matting, but cut your piece of paper that you're going to put on the back. Okay, and you're not putting that right now. Now you're measuring to leave maybe, I would say, 1/4 of an inch or so. Make sure you have 1/2 an inch here probably, and I would cut it just inside the matting paper. Okay, just like I did here. Cut it just inside here, the matting paper, and I'm going to put a little tab here so it's easier to play with. Okay, so I make a mark there, then I cut that, and you can round the corners if you want. I'm not going to do it. And after that, so you need to have a little strip that will be glued underneath the last card. So what you do is you fold all of them up to the last card. So you have only the last card here. Then you turn it around so you see how much room you have. So you could go that wide for a card, but I'm going to go just this wide. It's big enough. So what you're going to do is you're going to put a little bit of glue here and try and center. Don't have to measure because it's going to be too much anyways. You're going to flip it underneath. Make sure it's nice and straight here. Okay, so that's that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to mat the inside. So here I have my waterfall, I have my strip. I just flip that and I'm going to mat that. You don't have to go all the way down here, up here. As long as you have the right width and you go close to the last one. Okay, but you can go all the way as long as you're inside the fold. Usually I would take pattern paper for that, but I'm not using too much because I don't have much. So I'm going to put that with a nice edge all around, nice and even. Pressing that right now. And then I will mat that later. So this is going to be the matting of my paper, so I'm just going to put it that way. I could have put it that way, but my cards are all portraits. Of course, we will not put it that way because then you'd have to pull towards the inside of the book, which we don't want. So I'm putting, so this is the top of my page, the right arrow, very important to check. This is going to be the matting, so my card's going to go like this. So here what you have to do is center. You can measure if you want, and then you're nice and even on the sides here, and you just flip that and you fold the two edges, the little strip on two sides, and you put the glue here. And that's that. All you have to do now is glue that onto here. If you have a liner, this would have been smaller. I'm not making a liner. This was a quick project I wanted to do, so I'm not making too much, repeating the same thing on each page. It's a quick, easy album. You can make it harder if you want by choosing to make the liners for every page or add more pockets. So this is going to go right here, and that's our waterfall page. Easy enough. So you have to be really meticulous, and if you are, you're good. I would not suggest that you try your first one with nice paper that you cherish. So just try with scrap paper or some paper you don't really like. But you really have to use the regular weight, 65-pound weight for the band here for those folds, so that they're really nice and flat. And I suggest that you use heavyweight cardstock, or if you have your pattern cardstock that's really thick, it's going to make it up, so you can use just regular cardstock. But I like the heavyweight because also the corners won't bend, and also what you could do is you could round all your corners. I didn't want to do that because I have square cards and I don't want to do more work. And here we'll make a little flap, so whatever paper you have, I don't have any scraps quite yet, so I'm not doing that right now. I'm going to use that just a little scrap I have at the end, whatever. And you just take a piece of paper, you fold it in two. It has to go underneath and on top, and that's a little pull. And I suggest you put something, either a button or something to pull. I didn't want to put a button. I didn't have the right color button, but I put some blings here, which is the same. And it's easier to grab if you have something bumpy here to make it work. So that's it. Also, we have time to start working on the two last ones. So here, if you want to do a liner, you do it first, and then you decide. No, that's in the cover, so we have to make the book first. So I'll be maybe we can start working on this pouch. So you have to get some paper that is, I like the heavyweight, but you don't have to. I think I'm going to use the heavyweight. Let's stop. So here what you do is you decide, I'm going to give you the measurements for this one. So here you have, this is measuring 5 1/4. So I need to have 5 1/4 in the center, okay? And you need to have 5 lines of 3/8 of an inch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lines. That means 6. You will have 6 sections of 3/8 of an inch. Then you measure your 5 1/4. You make a little mark, and then you do again 5 lines plus an extra 3/8 of an inch. So that will be 6 lines, and then the 6th one you cut, and then you decide on the height. So I'm gonna make it this high. So then you score a line like this, and then you do 2 more of 3/8 of an inch, and then you cut. You don't cut. So I'm gonna prepare that, and also I'm gonna prepare the flap. Those little, if you have a 1-inch punch, that would be perfect to make those. So I'm going to prepare those. You need to have brads, because when I show you the material in video number 1, I didn't tell you about the brads. So you need to have little brads and some string, and you decide on the page that you want to be putting on the back. So I'll be coming back for that, and also we'll be making the book. Okay? See you later.